Hey guys, John with JRSP, Johnson Reality Self Protection, also a certified instructor for the Medusa Edge weapon system. So today we are gonna finish out the Seardo power slaps. I am so sorry, I completely got off track, and I had a death in the family. It was my grandpa, and it's been a hectic time. Uh, Working real hard, moving stuff. Found out that my wife is pregnant with her third kid, so it's just been real hectic. But we're getting back on track with this system. I really want to, grow my subscriber base. I really want to make this a big thing. Hopefully, I would say that YouTube's not my job and everything, but one of my biggest passions has been to teach self protection and self defense to the people, my own brand, because I got something to give to the world. Because I got my own viewpoint of things. I've done the Cobra Self Defense Academy. I, have absorbed a bunch of quality material over the years. Um, and this is just my passion. It's been my passion since ever since 9/11. Okay, and when 9/11 happened, that's when I understood. Like, I was 12 years old. I don't know if I've told this story. I probably have, because it's what lit the fire in me, because it's what made me understood. Even though we're in America, the strongest country in the world, I was a 12-year-old boy sitting in elementary school when a substitute teacher ran into my classroom, and she was yelling at my teacher, like screaming, like in panic, like, "Oh, there's been a terrorist attack! There's been a terrorist attack! Turn on the TV!" I mean, we were 12 years. Some of us were 11 years old. Some of us may have been 13 years old. I know I was 12, like I said, but we were kids, man. We were kids, and we. You can't make this stuff up, and I'm not making this up. Like, we just did some type of what's the word I'm looking for? We just did some type of uh, project, and the it was about like the world's tallest buildings. Okay, we just did that like a couple weeks before, if not the week before. So we understood, basically, or we had a general understanding of how tall the World Trade Center was. Okay, like in those towers. So we knew that if somebody's jumping from those towers, they're dead. Okay, and not just dead. They're a freaking splat mark um on the ground. Okay, you don't. They're like those type of remains. I mean, those people were like, it's awful to even think about. Okay, but those people jumped from the flames because that was a better death than burning to death to them. So they made the decision just to jump. And what we saw as kids were people jumping out of those towers. And I mean, yeah, I wasn't there in New York to see it firsthand, thank God, but I saw it on the TV, and that still sticks with me, still to this day. Okay, I was 12 years old, I'm 35 now. Okay, and that still, like, is right here. Just like Dean Winchester said in Supernatural, like, after he finally spoke to Sam about hell, where he was like, I'm not going to talk about it. He's like, it's right here forever. You know, it me seeing those people jump, me seeing those planes hit those towers, and those people jumping from the towers and watching Tower One fall or whatever. It's right here. It's right here forever. Um, and then learning everything, all the details later. And I know there's a lot of people who are going to say that, oh, it was a conspiracy, and those planes were shot out of the sky. There's a lot of conspiracies on the matter. The main thing is, 3,000 plus people died. I know 2,000 plus people died that day, and then it's like probably like in the wreckage and stuff. I mean, the death toll, people who inhaled the hazardous materials from the buildings. I mean, who knows how high the death toll actually is from 9/11 to this day, but God knows. But then I got home. I remember I rode the bus home and got home. My parents, I don't know if they were home. I don't think they were home, but it was just a very, like, I was in shock, from everything that had happened that day. It was just crazy. So I get home. I think we may have got let out of class early that day or something. I think maybe that's why my parents weren't home at the time. But I get home and like it's still going on, and I know President Bush was in Florida that day. Like it was weird because I mean he was at another school in Florida that day, which was crazy. And I live in Florida. He wasn't at our school, but he was at a school in Florida. But later on that night, we hear about Flight 93. Okay, and that was really what like sparked the fire because these planes were hijacked by people with box cutters, so the story says, if we're going by the official narrative. Okay. Um the people on Flight 93 stood up and didn't let that plane go wherever it was planning on going. It was going somewhere. It was hijacked and it was going somewhere to take lives. And the official story is, those people stood up and fought like their like adversaries, and they knew they were gonna die, but they made sure that plane like went down somewhere where it wasn't gonna, you know, take anybody else's lives. They died, but they God only knows how many people they saved. And that right there, I mean, it was very crushing, and I cried. Like, I ain't gonna lie. And sometimes when I think about it, I still cry. I want to cry right now when I think about that, because what that um taught me was that, for one, the whole thing taught me that, you know, evil can still touch us. It doesn't matter how religious we are, it doesn't matter how Christian we are, it doesn't matter, like, because, you're a good person, you donate to a kid in Africa, you have sent money to build wells in countries where they don't have access to clean drinking water and stuff, and you're just a saint, and God loves you and everything. It doesn't matter, because I was raised in a very Christian household. I was raised to believe that, oh, we have the hedge of protection and Jesus' blood, and so no evil can touch us or whatever. Well, how many Christians were on those planes is what I ask people, like, that I teach, the people who come to seminars and classes, and I say, well, how many Christians who thought just like you were on those planes? How many Christians who thought just like you were in those towers when they fell and they died? Okay, and it just showed, Satan is the ruler of this world, and evil can touch you. It don't matter how Christian you are. Okay, I mean, now I don't want to say that, like, because I mean, maybe if you're prayed up enough and you have enough belief or whatever, but how many Christians have died horrible deaths over the last 20 years? I mean, you can just watch these cases on all these uh, law and crime channels, okay? Where, they were such beautiful people. A lot of these women who were horribly assaulted, I mean, in horrible ways. It's like she was a light of hope, is what they always say. It's always when she walked into a room, she lit up the room. It's like, and she was a godly, spiritual person, and she, like, everybody loved her and stuff. But what most of those people had in common is that they had no self defense, self protection training whatsoever. Um, and that's why I have a passion to teach this kind of stuff, because there's people who are just walking around out there who are 110% naive of reality. Now, like I like to say at the end of every video, if you play your cards right, you're going to go through your life and probably never have to deal with any type of situation. Because if you play your cards right, you're going to have some type of training. Now, maybe your training isn't like some type of martial arts black belt system or whatever, like martial art, not even black, but just martial arts system. Martial arts systems a lot of times really aren't the best thing for self defense. Is what I've seen over the years. The best thing for self protection and self defense are systems that are geared towards that and that actually have someone who knows what they're talking about. And that's what I've tried to become and educate myself in. I don't claim to be some type of hand to hand combat expert. Okay. I don't claim to be a karate or taekwondo black belt like someone who. I don't claim to be the baddest guy walking down the street. It's like, I don't claim that I've won every fight that I've been in. I don't claim that if I go out there right now and get into some type of altercation that I'm not going to get my rear end handed to me. I don't claim any of that because one of the things that you got to understand is first and foremost you got to check your ego at the door, and you can never overestimate your own abilities. Okay, and that's what a lot I see so many people do. Okay, they overinflate and overestimate themselves and hype themselves up, and they think that they're some type of Bruce Lee, the reincarnation of Bruce Lee, or Chuck Norris, or Michael John White. And it's like, for one, those guys are actors, but they were or were and are still very good martial artists who's done it for years. Okay, but once again, they're actors, and secondly, it's like most of you are not that guy. Okay, some of these actors aren't even that guy. Okay, I mean, what is some of them like who have been in movies and did all this stuff that looked like martial arts and stuff, and then come to find out it's like, well, really, they're not even really a martial artist. They're just a good actor, and they just had to train for the role. And it, like, when they went home, a lot of them aren't even like really practicing or studying martial artists. But most of us are not that guy. I don't claim to be that guy. I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm just trying to be the guy who is training and always being prepared. And because I'm not that guy, that's why I carry weapons, okay? Because I know I'm not that guy, and but also because I'm smart, I'm not just carrying lethal force weapons. I'm carrying um, a bunch of less lethal weapons as well. Because some people will say, "Oh well, less lethal and that stuff will just get your ass kicked and whatever palm sticks, that's not gonna work." But I've trained with palm pocket six enough to know that um, there's gonna be that person who's just way worse than you. And you may not want any type of smoke with this individual, but it may just be that they're having a bad day that day. And it may be that you're not going to be able to talk yourself out of that situation. And in an empty hand conflict or scrap with them, they are going to freaking give you brain damage. And the only way around that is if you have some type of difference maker, okay? And that's why I've been carrying difference makers for years, and that's why I came up with my own, okay, the handler, because this embodies everything, all my training, all the information and stuff that I've processed over the years. But um, I understand that you may be up against the one who, you're not going to be able to take just empty handed, okay, because they know something, or they're just a bad dude, okay, who has been in a lot of scraps, and maybe they're a nice guy, but this is not the day that they're planning on being nice. And they've been in a lot more scraps than you, and they're closer to that guy than you are. And on that day, and if you go to take them barehanded or empty handed, they're going to eat your lunch alive. And whereas if you have something like this, maybe it's going to make a difference. Now, maybe not. Okay. I tell people, I mean, the hand that wields the sword is the slayer. The blade is just an echo. Your ability to use this is what's gonna um, ultimately be the real difference maker. But this is a force enhancer, so it could definitely like help you in a situation where if you didn't have it, you may get messed up really bad. And like I say, it's always better to have something and not need it than need it and not have it. So that's just what I'm about. And like I say, I've rambled, and but ultimately, this video is about the fourth Seardo power slap. Sorry for rambling on, but we just had to get that out so you guys understood really what was going on and why it's been so long. But this slap is going to be coming from this angle, okay? It's really the only way you're going to do it. And it's coming from an upward trajectory almost. So if you're in this angle right here with somebody, and like for some whatever reason, I don't know why, you landed here, okay, you can come up right into the jaw. It's like a scooping motion. It's not always going to work, but that's what you're going for, okay? With the palm, really, and more like a cupped hand almost, right into the jaw. So that's the fourth Seardo power slap. Let's see if we can do it like we're coming right up like that. You got to be off kind of base right here for it to work. So we went over 1, 2, 3, 4. So that wraps up the Seardo power slap course or series. So hey guys, this is Jaw with JRSP, John's Reality Self Protection. Yeah, looking forward to more videos on basically really Seardo, because I don't really know what's going on with Medusa. I really want to get into that. I am a certified instructor for that. I paid the money. I did the training and, made the effort to get that certification. But I just found out that one of the main dudes I talked about in the last video, Joel Hunkar, he just left the system. He just made it so I would not even have known about Medusa if it wasn't for Joel Hunkar. So I haven't really talked anything about one of the other main dudes who wrote the whole manual, Jason Schultz. He left the system months ago. So I don't know if these guys are just babies and they just don't like the fact that maybe that the founders, they wanted to do something or whatever, and the founder said, no, we don't want that going in our system or something. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why. Maybe they had their emotional reasons or something or whatever. I don't know. But it was kind of a shock to find out that, the dude responsible for me even discovering Medusa just left the system today. I've seen it on Facebook. He created this right here, the Boondock Pick. Is one of the better force enhancing fist loads, like palm type pocket sticks that even money can buy right here. I really like this. I carry it alongside my handlers as well. Because I really like it. But I was gonna make a Medusa video, talking about how this is a great option for Medusa less lethal, but then this bombshell just happened where the guy left the system today. So I reached out to my instructor, hey, well, what is going on? Is the system just collapsing or whatever? And I guess he really doesn't want anything to do with it or whatever. I don't know. He's just treating it like it's none of his business. So I'm gonna respect that. But I was shook, okay? I was pretty shook when the dude who wrote the manual left, and he was like, yeah, and the books are not going to be available. The manuals are getting pulled. So you're not going to be able to get the manual. You better get them now because you're getting pulled at the end of the month. I was like, what? So I bought 2 more manuals just to have them. And I was thinking, what, man? Like, am I gonna have to transcribe this thing for my students and whatnot? So, I don't know. It's a newer system, and there are some things going like in it that, um, I like. I don't want to hate or anything, and I'm not hating, but there are some things in the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not a good speaker. There's some things in the uh, man, like the initiation process, basically, to like who could become an instructor and stuff and whatever. There's some things that need to be shored up there, but it's not for me to say. It's not my system. That's why I'm going to focus more on my own system, Seardo and JRSP, and really, I mean, that's what I created. So who can tell me what I can and can't do with my own system? So. Uh, good things gonna be coming in the future. This year started off kind of rough, like, but um, I'm looking forward to the future. So hey, you guys, thank you to each and every one of you who subscribed. I didn't think that this was gonna be like. I was gonna have 50 subscribers, yet alone like over 200 subscribers now. Like, so, thank you to each and every one of you guys for sticking with the channel. Look forward to a lot more content, maybe too in a new location. This has been a tight location due to the fact that my mom got sick and me and my wife had to move here to help her, and I haven't really had a good place to actually make content, but look forward to more content, more things, and always remember that the world is a big place and all the dangers are very real. And it's better to be paranoid and alive than complacent and dead. And I don't consider myself to be paranoid, and I don't want you to live your life being paranoid. But I consider myself to be paranoid, and I think you should too. But always remember that. I mean, there isn't a lot of things that is going to be worth um, your freedoms and your life. So whenever you can, it's always better just to walk away. You guys take it easy.